You've lived a life where each day felt pre-programmed, an endless loop. Wake, work, scroll, then sleep again. You laughed, not from joy, but because it was when you had to. You nodded, not in agreement, but because it was when you were supposed to. You meticulously followed the rules, never once questioning who made them, and ironically, you believed that was freedom. You convinced yourself that everything was your own choice. Yet, a quiet, deep voice deep inside always whispered something to you. A sense of constraint, a strange unease, a soft whisper that it was all just a performance. Then one day, that fateful moment arrived, a small crack revealing the truth behind the mask. A moment of awakening, everything became clear. Perhaps it was when you were lost in a party, seeing forced smiles and suddenly realizing the endless emptiness in the eyes of those around you. Or perhaps when you scrolled through a stream of smiling faces on social media, you suddenly realized they were just fake smiles. It was all just a performance, a sales pitch. Or perhaps it was when you looked in the mirror, and for the first time you had to admit you no longer recognized the role you were playing. And in that very moment, you saw it, the script of life, invisible lines of script handed to you even before you were born. There's an invisible script that dictates everything, from what you should study, who you should love, to when you should marry, when to bow down and follow orders. These are rules created by a society constantly terrified of what might happen if you dare to stop playing your part. You start to realize that the people around you seem to be merely repeating things mechanically. At the office, they parrot empty corporate jargon that they themselves don't even believe in. In church, prayers are uttered soullessly, lacking sincerity. Back home, they continue with the same old stale small talk, nothing new. Empty words, forced smiles, everyone's an actor, everywhere, an endless play. And then a chilling truth emerges. This play seems to have no end. However, the truly terrifying part lies beyond that. Once you've seen through life's script, you can never pretend you haven't seen it. You're no longer able to laugh at fake, tasteless jokes. Empty rituals now only make you uncomfortable, unbearable. You can't keep pretending you truly belong when all you witness is a staged performance. You've stepped through a door, a point of no return. And for that, the crowd will never forgive you. Because the moment you see through the script, you're no longer a fellow actor. You've transformed into a mirror reflecting the truth. And mirrors are always hated, never loved. Socrates was sentenced to death, forced to drink poison, simply because he dared to hold a mirror up to Athens. As for Nietzsche, he went mad because he steadfastly refused the sweet comfort of illusions. Galileo was silenced, simply for daring to reveal a truth that the predetermined script could not tolerate. That is the unbreakable rule. This community tolerates everything, except for those who dare to deny their predetermined roles. And now she is no exception. She once believed that enlightenment would set her free. Yet it made her distant, beyond anyone's reach. She once hoped she would finally find a true sense of belonging. Yet the harsh truth is, she belongs nowhere. That is the price of seeing everything too clearly. That is the curse of understanding the script too well. She was no longer a mere spectator, and she was no longer an actress on the stage. She was pushed out of the circle. And once she stepped outside, there was no turning back. Look around her. What is unfolding before her eyes? Are they truly existing souls or just roles being played? From crowded streets to lecture halls and office hours, she gradually realized one thing. Every line rehearsed, every smile artificial, and the laughter mere emptiness. This isn't life. This is a stage play. No matter where you go, you'll always encounter invisible masks. There are masks for office workers, masks for students, masks worn with friends, and even masks for facing family. Each of these masks is meticulously crafted to maintain the play of life, keeping the illusion from ever fading. Psychologist Carl Jung named this mask the persona, the face we put on when confronting the outside world. It's the armor we wear to survive and meet the expectations others place upon us. Jung once warned that without this mask, society would crumble, yet by wearing it, each individual slowly withers away. You've surely worn that mask yourself, and you understand the burden it carries. At work, you have to feign interest in tasks that, in reality, bore you to no end. With friends, you force a smile at jokes you genuinely don't find funny. In front of family, you transform into the dutiful child, never daring to utter truths that might shatter the peaceful atmosphere at the dinner table. For a while, the mask seems to work. It protects you from danger, brings approval, and buys you a sense of belonging. But that's a lie. The mask doesn't protect you. Instead, it's slowly erasing your true self. Let's reflect on the herd that philosopher Nietzsche once warned about. That crowd is willing to abandon individual identity just to exchange it for the warm comfort of feeling part of a collective. The herd still exists, yes, but their existence is merely like faint shadows, like echoes repeating one another. The herd may feel safe and socially accepted, but they will never truly live a full life. And here's a bitter truth you need to face. You were once a member of that very herd. Every time you nod in agreement when your heart wants to object, every time you stay silent to avoid conflict, every time you prioritize approval over harsh truth. You've inadvertently traded your life for an endless play. Honestly ask yourself, how many times have you had to swallow the words bubbling up inside you just to keep your mask from cracking? How many times have you pushed aside your deepest thoughts, feelings, and desires just to keep playing a predetermined role? You mistakenly believe that this act makes you resilient, that staying silent is a sign of maturity, and that blending in with the crowd is a smart choice. Not at all. In fact, it only makes it easier for you to fade into oblivion. History only remembers those who dared to cast off their masks, not those who wore them so perfectly that no one noticed. Look at Socrates, who relentlessly questioned the play of life until the city of Athens had to put an end to him. Or Galileo, who bravely proclaimed the truth about the universe and was forced into silence. Even Christ, a figure who dared to break every script of his era and was crucified for it. But what about you? You still wake up every day, and then you put on your familiar mask again. You continue to play your role perfectly, mistaking it for life itself. However, there's one truth you absolutely must understand. The mask you wear is never harmless. Every day you put it on, it silently gnaws away at your soul. Every day you play a role, you lose the true face hidden deep within. You've felt it already, haven't you? That feeling of emptiness, of hollowness, creeps in and surrounds you after a long day of pretending. That mental exhaustion and emptiness isn't from work, but from constantly having to perform. That is the steep price the mask demands. It's not a protective shield. It's a suffocating chokehold. So, be honest and ask yourself, when was the last time you spoke your mind without having to weigh your words or calculate? Do you remember the last time your smile truly came from genuine joy, not from some predetermined script? When was the last time you dared to look someone in the eye without the weight of a role pressing down on you? The harsh reality is incredibly simple. You're not truly living, you're just performing a play, and this is the naked truth slowly revealing itself. The moment you grasp this, when the stage curtain is truly pulled back, a feeling of disgust will engulf you. Disgust at the lies surrounding you. Disgust even at the falseness hidden deep within yourself, because now you realize that script was never created to bring you freedom. Instead, it was designed solely for your subservience. And once you've tasted the bitterness of that disgust, the path back will completely vanish. The mask falls, the audience starts to smell it, and then that crowd will slowly turn their backs on you. Because the moment you leave their stage, the performance will also end. And nothing terrifies actors more than an individual who dares to refuse their role. Awakening is not a gentle light, it's like a raging fire. The first spark is just a tiny flicker, a moment when the mask slips and you suddenly realize you're being fake. You see the pretense behind every laugh. You feel the emptiness in your every word, and from there that fire will spread everywhere. Then one day you realize you can no longer force a smile at dull, meaningless conversations. You can no longer bow down to powers that don't deserve to be honored. And you can't nod in agreement when deep down every instinct is screaming in protest. Once that spark is ignited, you'll never be able to extinguish it. You can no longer close your eyes and sleep peacefully as before, because this awakening is an irreversible process. It burns down the bridges you once believed you needed. At work, you no longer feel like you belong. You can't sit still in meetings listening to the same old platitudes, pretending that numbers have meaning and that politics isn't a game. Every word spoken makes you feel the crushing weight of pretense. You no longer find common ground with friends. When you listen to them gossip about celebrities, trivial matters, and superficial pleasures, all you hear is the echo of people trying to deceive themselves from their inner emptiness. You want to scream, but you choose to remain silent because you know they'll never understand. Even with family, you no longer feel like you belong. At gatherings, when everyone plays a predetermined role, smiling, you eat, you make small talk, but you feel like a lost soul, haunting a room full of actors. You are present among them, yet you don't feel like you're part of that space. And this is the moment most people falter, because the feeling of belonging offers an invisible sense of security. The feeling of fitting in is so comforting. When that warmth is gone, the biting cold becomes unbearable. Let's look back at the course of history. Socrates saw through everything with too much clarity. He exposed the lies of Athens, shattered all their illusions, and in return, the city gave him the cup of poison. What they truly didn't want was the truth. Instead, they only craved comfort and security. Yet he was the one who disturbed that peace, making them feel incredibly uneasy. It seems that throughout history, those who dared to expose the truth have faced a harsh destiny. The moment they dared to lift the veil, exposing malicious plots, secret deals, corruption, or fraud, they were immediately cast out. They became relentless prey, hunted without cease. Their existence was cruelly erased from so-called civilized society. Even mystics, those capable of seeing through the veil of reality, were branded with terrifying labels: heretics, witches, or madmen. Their fate was often exile, brutal torture, or even being cruelly burned alive, not because what they said was wrong, but because they saw too much of what others didn't want to see. And this is a harsh, yet immutable law of awakening. The more you see through the layers of illusion, the more you will feel alienated, no longer belonging to the old world. In the early days, this feeling of solitude will gnaw at you and make you panic. You begin to wonder, have I gone mad? You question whether all the troubles stem from yourself. A fleeting thought, should I put on the old mask again and continue living in pretense as if nothing ever happened? Yet, deep in your heart, a voice whispers that you cannot go back down that path. Because once the curtain has been lifted, continuing to pretend is 1,000 times more painful and worse than being cast out. And so, with a heavy but resolute heart, you walk away, leaving everything behind. It is not a voluntary choice, but an unavoidable necessity. Then one day you stop picking up calls. The forced smile on your face fades, and you no longer kneel to beg anyone. Every bridge, every connection turns to dust. When the smoke clears, you realize you're all alone in the world. However, there's a secret the majority will never reveal to you. Solitude is not a weakness, but a hidden source of strength. It's true you've lost the sense of security that comes with belonging. It's true you've been labeled an outcast, but in return, you've gained something far greater. It's the ability to live a life without lies. While the majority exists through pretense, you live by facing the truth. And the price for seeing through that truth is anything but cheap. It will take away the friends you once held dear. It will strip away the security and certainty you once had. It will tear apart every illusion you've cherished. But at the same time, it will also break every chain that binds you. So, don't fear the bridges burning fiercely behind you, because they were never truly leading anywhere worth going. And don't bother regretting those who turned their backs and left you. In truth, they never truly walked with you, but only alongside the facade, the mask you created. Hold your head high with pride, because the fire that isolated you from the crowd is also the fire purifying your soul. It only keeps what is most genuine. And if you can endure, you will become an unassailable entity. This awakening, though it completely destroys your old life, grants you something your former life never could. It gives you back your true self. Awakening is not celebrated. On the contrary, it is punished. You might mistakenly believe that people will be grateful when you unveil the truth. When they see the naked reality, you think they'll appreciate the mirror you bravely held up to reflect it. But the harsh truth is, society does not reward those who dare to speak the truth. Instead, it crucifies them. Because the truth offers no comfort, the truth brings no amusement, and most importantly, the truth is incredibly dangerous. When you decide to refuse to follow the predetermined script, you don't just step off the stage of life, you also expose the true nature of that very stage. And of course, the other actors will despise you for it. They don't want the illusion they're living in to be shattered. They don't want their masks torn off. They just want to continue their charade. Then, they all turn their backs on you. You suddenly become the scapegoat, the source of all problems, the one who needs to be silenced immediately. Whether what you say is right or wrong is no longer the issue. More importantly, you've disrupted the entire play they're performing. History has proven this over centuries. Machiavelli once warned, and Socrates was executed not because he lied, but precisely because he dared to speak the truth. Christ was crucified, not for a lack of strength, but because he steadfastly refused to conceal his true self. Whether a whistleblower, a rebel, or a prophet, all face the same unyielding judgment. That sentence is exile, silencing, and destruction. In the current era, while the tools may differ, the pattern remains unchanged. You won't be burned at the stake anymore. Instead, they will boycott you, erase your presence, and strip you of everything, your reputation, your livelihood, and even your voice, until you are forced to your knees, begging for their acceptance. In essence, this is society's self-preservation mechanism. It is compelled to destroy individuals who refuse to participate in the collective charade. Because the masses understand that an awakened mind has a powerful ripple effect. A refusal to participate in that game threatens the very existence of the entire charade. An individual who dares to stand apart from the herd will show the entire flock that breaking free is entirely possible, and that, to them, is unforgivable. So, if you have awakened, be ready to face this punishment. They will label you as arrogant, insane, or even dangerous. They will twist your words, mock you, and ultimately abandon you. The reason isn't because you are wrong, but precisely because you are right. Not because you are weak, but because you possess the strength to see through the truth. And when those punishments come, you must remember this. This is not a sign of your failure, but clear proof of your freedom. For only slaves find safety within the confines of the herd. On the stage of life, only those who know how to play a role receive admiration. Yet those who dare to speak their truth are often met with apprehension and ostracized. Oddly enough, being feared by others is still better than being completely forgotten. At first, exile felt like death, a suffocating silence, a loneliness that cut to the very core. Every deep instinct within you screamed, yearning to return, to beg the community for acceptance once more. But then, something unexpected happened. It was a transformation, a moment of awakening. You suddenly find yourself completely free. For the first time in your life, no eyes are watching. No one demands you play a role anymore. No one forces you to follow a script. And in that silence, amidst the pervasive loneliness, you discover a truth that most of humanity will never have the chance to understand. It turns out the feeling of belonging is an invisible cage. When you accept it, every action you take is bound. You only smile when others expect it. You only speak when allowed. You have to swallow your true thoughts just to avoid offending anyone. You aren't living true to yourself, but as an image approved by the majority. But now, having stepped outside, that cage is gone. Yes, you are alone. Yes, you are unwelcome. Yet, this is the first time you truly get to be yourself. The philosopher Nietzsche called this state untimely. An untimely person is one who is out of sync with the era they live in. They choose to go against the current of their time, refusing to blend into the common rhythm of the majority. He faces ridicule, contempt, yet strangely, he is completely free, because blending in with the crowd always brings comfort. There's warmth there, a soothing sense of security. However, hidden behind that comfort is an invisible chain. He who dares to go against the current must accept walking alone. He pays a heavy price for isolation. In return, he holds an invaluable reward: absolute autonomy. Please don't confuse this with joy. Freedom, in essence, is not happiness. Freedom is a burden, a heavy responsibility. It is the raw and harsh truth that no one will come to rescue you, no one will comfort or console you, and no one will bear the consequences of the choices you've made. Yet, strangely, it is this seemingly cruel burden that forges extraordinary strength within you. The crowd always seeks to escape this burden. They rush into the arms of comfort, of predefined molds, of masks that hide their true selves. They willingly step into chains because they are too weak to bear the weight of freedom. But you are different. You have accepted exile, have felt that terrible weight pressing down on your shoulders. And you have not faltered. That is why you now stand firm in a place few have ever reached. Yes, you are alone, but you are completely autonomous. No one can own you. No one has the right to dictate your words. No one can write the script for your life. You owe nothing, not the expectations they set, not their judgments, and not the fragile illusions they cling to. This is a fascinating paradox. Exile may feel like a loss, but in reality, it is the truest form of victory, because when you lose the crowd, you truly find yourself. And once you've tasted this harsh flavor of freedom, you will never want to trade it for any comfort again. That old cage will never imprison you again, because while the majority seek belonging, you have chosen the path of freedom. You have seen through the social charade, decisively burned old bridges, and bravely embraced a life of exile. Now you stand there, amidst the vast, cold silence of true freedom. So what will you create from this very freedom? Because once freedom lacks direction, it's nothing more than a meaningless void. Simply tearing up the false script isn't enough. Your task is to personally craft the story of your own life. Carl Jung called this journey individuation, a process of shaping an integrated, authentic self, not a mask. It's the endeavor of gathering the fragments you once hid, the parts you suppressed, the truths you buried, and forging them into a unified, inseparable self. Society always wants you to be divided, fragmented. It wants you to be forever torn between the role you must play and the true person within. This internal division has weakened you and pushed you into the vortex of conformity. However, once you've seen through the nature of the lie, once you've steadfastly endured exile, you will feel the compelling call to unify. That's when you write your own code of conduct, not borrowed from dogma, not inherited from tradition, not shaped by culture, a code forged in the fire of your own inner being. This is not the comfort that comes from belonging to a group. This is the raw, powerful pride of a self-sovereign individual. While the majority value themselves by the approval of others, you must value yourself by internal consistency. Do your actions truly align with the code you've set? Do your words reflect your inner truth? And is your life lived in accordance with the self you've chosen to become? If the answer is yes, you are experiencing a life few ever achieve. But if it's no, you are still a slave, even if you are living in exile. Let's look at the great figures who walked this path before you, like Nietzsche, who resolutely refused to bend to the morality of the masses and instead carved out his own distinct path. Or Marcus Aurelius, a powerful emperor, yet one who lived by a strict personal code of discipline and philosophy. Not the hollow, meaningless applause of the Roman Empire, and Tesla, who decisively abandoned both wealth and social acceptance solely to wholeheartedly pursue his own grand vision. Even when alone, the spirit remains strong and unyielding. Their greatness doesn't come from blending into a group. Instead, it stems from their courage to stand apart and forge their own unique journey. Now, a monumental challenge stands before you. The path back to the crowd is gone, that life script you cannot forget. The only path open to you is to determine your own destiny. Begin crafting your own unique story. Write it with unwavering discipline. Write it with a spirit that knows no limits. Etch it clearly, so that every step you take, every word you speak, and even your moments of silence are entirely your own. There's no room for borrowed beliefs. There's no room for copied values. There's no room for false validation. Only the absolute autonomy of an individual who belongs to no one but themselves. Certainly the crowd will turn their backs and despise you. Indeed, the collective will mock you. Yet, their jeers are utterly meaningless, because while they are busy performing a script, you are diligently creating. When they blindly follow orders, you are the one who takes command. While others merely follow a pre-written script, you are actively crafting your own life story. And from that very moment, the seeds of greatness begin to blossom. Now you stand at a fateful turning point. This is the moment where everything you've witnessed, every loss you've endured, and every pain you've suffered finally converges. You are no longer the weak one begging for a place in this world, nor are you an actor yearning for applause. The obedient shadow merely repeating lines that weren't its own has completely vanished. That fragile self who always forced a smile despite wanting to scream, who bowed in submission despite wanting to rise up, who lived a preordained life, has now completely withered away. Instead, another entity has emerged, something more precious, something inviolable. Let's look back at the journey you've traveled. You have seen through life's script. The curtain of illusion has completely fallen. The masks around you have fallen one by one, and you have seen society's grand stage revealed in its true nature. Just a play. You have personally burned the old bridges. You no longer force a smile at tasteless false jokes. You have stopped bowing before illusory powers. You have stopped pretending to belong somewhere that isn't yours. That fire has completely burned away your old shackles. You have endured the punishment. To the crowd, you are arrogant, a threat, even a madman. They cast you out of their circle, ridiculed you, and sought to erase your very existence. Yet you stood firm, unbroken. You tasted the bitterness of exile, the sting of isolation. You endured the chilling embrace of freedom, a silence that sent shivers down your spine. And in that solitary void, you discovered a truth. Belonging, it turned out, was nothing but a cage, and exile, conversely, was the key to liberation. And then you began to write. Not the scripts society had pre-written, not the moral codes they imposed, not their hollow, meaningless rules, but your own script, rules you set for yourself, and the truth you had discovered. Now, it is the moment of your transformation. Society still believes you are an outcast, cast aside, but you know a truth that is entirely the opposite. It is they who are enslaved. It is they who are trapped in an endless play, one they cannot stop performing. Their so-called belonging is, ironically, the very prison that confines their souls. And what about you? It is through their rejection that you truly find freedom. You become extraordinarily strong because you are their greatest fear. It is solitude that has crowned you master of your own destiny. Look, this is the forbidden circle. a sacred space reserved only for resilient souls, capable of enduring the trial by fire. Now you have stepped into that world. This, you must understand profoundly. From this moment on, you have become an inviolable being. They can no longer manipulate you, for you no longer crave their approval. You have moved beyond their control, for you no longer beg to be a part of them. They cannot destroy you, because what they call punishment is the most powerful testament to your inner strength. You are not a man who has been rejected. On the contrary, you are a man who has been chosen. You are chosen by truth, chosen by the trial by fire, and chosen by exile itself. The path you walk makes the crowd tremble, for it demands a courage they utterly lack. That is the profound reason they fear you. That is why they whisper about you. And that is also why they brand you dangerous, because you are exactly that person. Let's reflect on the great souls who paved the way before you. Socrates chose to drink the hemlock, steadfastly refusing to betray the truth he believed in. Nietzsche bravely shattered the illusions of his era, even at the cost of descending into the abyss of madness. Machiavelli candidly exposed the naked truths of power to rulers, things no one else dared to utter. Tesla forged visions far ahead of his time, visions the masses couldn't even begin to comprehend. They were not ordinary individuals, not seekers of safety, but free spirits, masters of their own destiny. And now, you are no longer a follower but a brother, a comrade on the path they walked. You are not a faint shadow but a brilliant, dazzling flame that makes the crowd recoil. So, from this moment on, let your unique essence shine differently. When you step into any room, carry the profound awareness that you are no longer part of the masses. Your eyes see through what theirs cannot. Your mind reaches horizons their minds can never touch. Your soul stands firm in places their souls would never dare to tread. Never apologize for this difference. Never try to soften your nature just to make them comfortable. Never return to the old cage just to appease their inherent fears. You were not born to blend in with the crowd. You were born to shine and stand out. You were not destined for an ordinary life. You were born to master your own destiny. Engrave this rule. The majority of humanity will live and die according to a predetermined script. They will forever remain unquestioning, unawakened, and never break free from their invisible chains. But you are different. You have seen through. You have endured hardship. You have transformed yourself. You are inviolable. You are revered. You are free. This marks an end, not in tranquility or with applause, but by a definitive command. Stop constantly apologizing. Stop being weak. Stop contorting yourself to fit into overly restrictive molds. You are not here to perform, nor to kneel in submission, and certainly not to beg for a sliver of approval from those who cannot even accept themselves. You have seen through the curtain, and once the truth is revealed, you cannot pretend you haven't witnessed it. So, walk away. Abandon the fake smiles, shun the empty rituals, separate yourself from the crowd that will never truly understand you. Yes, you will walk alone. Yes, the path ahead will be cold, but that coldness is far purer than the false warmth the herd provides, and the quiet of solitude holds far greater power than their incessant noise. This channel is not for the masses, it is not for the complacent, rather it is for the unique, the rare individuals, for those who resolutely refuse to wear a mask, for those who embrace isolation rather than drown in a life of deceit, for those who understand that walking alone is the price of true self-mastery and freedom. If you belong to that group, you already know what action you must take. The act of subscribing here is not a common gesture. It is not merely a form of entertainment. Rather, it is an awakening of the mind, an initiation to join the circle of souls capable of seeing through all illusions, an initiation to become part of a brotherhood of outsiders who resolutely refuse to bow, an initiation to embrace the perilous freedom of the untamable. Most people will remain forever trapped in the vicious cycle. They will continue to play their parts until death drops the final curtain on their act. They will continue to smile, nod, and obediently follow every command. They will never have the opportunity to awaken. But you do not belong among them. The truth is laid bare before your eyes, isn't it? And from this moment forward, no one will dare to lay a hand on you again.